Hey guys, JC Smith here. This is going to be day 2 on the Lincoln Navigator. I'm on my way back to the parts store. It's pretty early. They weren't open when I got there. I had to wait on them. But I did have enough brake fluid to bleed the brakes out, but not enough to fill the reservoir. So I picked up some more brake fluid. While I was there, I saw they had a repair battery clamp for that situation I've got going on. So I picked that up and a few other things that, just shop supplies that we need. So I'm headed back. The goal for today is I want to get the engine torn apart. I want to get the whole front end off, get the valve covers off. I need to get a good, complete list of what it needs and decide where we go from here as to how deep we're going to go. I know I'm going to lose some money on this thing when I get it sold, but the reality is it's going to be a controlled loss. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to go crazy with this and overdo everything like I tend to do some things. So I'm going to be very conscientious of what I'm doing and how much I'm spending, because I don't want this to be an all-out hemorrhage, I guess is the way to put it. So we're going to get back and we're going to get it apart. I have just a few hours today. Unfortunately, life gets in the way. I can't just mess around with cars and trucks. Well, trucks. Unfortunately, I can't mess around with trucks all day, every day. I have to make a living just like everybody else. So today is one of those days. I've got to cut it short. I've got some things I have to do this afternoon. So about noon, I'm going to have to cut it out and probably work the rest of the day. I'm not complaining. Everybody's got to make their money. I just hate when I get on a roll and things are going pretty well, and I have to stop to do that because it's sometimes you lose your momentum. It's hard to get going again. So that being said, I'm going to get down to the shop and let's get this thing torn down. Let's see what we need. Alright, first things first, we're going to get that fan clutch off. This is what I use, my air hammer. It's a Lyle pneumatic fan clutch wrench set. I use this a lot on Fords. I use it on Super Duties all the time. And it's nothing more than an attachment for your air gun. It slides in here, goes around like so, goes on the fan clutch, like so. Air hose. Most of the time it's just a couple quick snaps and it's loose. No fighting with chains or pry bars or anything like that. It comes loose pretty, most of the time it comes right off. It's plenty loose. And of course on this situation you have to take this fan clutch off before you can get the fan shroud out. So that's what we're going to do now. So let me get this off and I'll bring you back. Tearing the front end apart, and I'm going through where the tensioner was, checking that bearing, checking the idler bearing, check this idler bearing, here's another idler bearing, and look. See if that'll show up better. That bearing's marginal. I mean, it's quiet, it's got a little bit of play in it, but this is one of the things that this is not real simple to get to because you gotta get the fan shroud out of the way. So the way I do things, the way I like to do it is order a new bearing. These are the things that, if you're not careful, will put this thing so far over the edge and just have way too much money spent. But this is one of those things. It's not absolutely necessary, but well, it would stink if that bearing went out, because a fan shroud comes into here and there's another idler pulley on top of it right here, so it's in the way. That would have to come off, that has to come off. The fan shroud, you might be able to get that in and out without taking the fan shroud out, but it wouldn't be any fun. And look, that's probably less than 20 bucks. It's not going to break the bank, so we'll go ahead and get one. So alright, I'll keep going. Alright, I haven't made it very far. I got some of the front end apart. I just spent about an hour, or just less than an hour, trying to get the power steering pump out so I can get the bracket out that came around here, stopping me from getting the valve cover out. It held the power steering reservoir. Now you see all this crap down in here. I need to blow all that out before I take that valve cover off. Get it as clean as possible because I don't want that crud falling in the motor. So that's next. I'll take them out and then I'll get all these ignition coils out of here. So let me get this blown out and move along. Maybe you can see that now. It's kind of hard to tell, but I got it all blown out. So now I'm going to pull these ignition coils out one by one and get them out of the way. I'll blow it out again, then we'll take the valve cover off. Well, it's finally off. So that's about, what do I got in this now, 2 hours? Yeah, probably about 2 hours, and I just got that valve cover off. But I have been fighting a lot of stuff. Some of the bolts are like the power steering bolts that went through the pump. It's cast iron, it looks like, and it goes into aluminum timing cover, and then a couple go into the block. So I was pretty careful about going back and forth and spraying it down good and taking my time because I sure didn't want to have to take it apart and drill that out. So that's one side off. Now I'm going to cover that side so nothing falls in it. I'm going to go to the other side. Okay, so we finally got this side of the valve cover off. Boy, that was tough, and I usually start with the toughest sides just so it makes me feel better about the other side. But this Navigator, these two AC lines right here, they're in the way, and it makes it to where it's just not enough room to get the valve cover to clear the caps to the cam. So what I ended up doing was, there's a bracket way back in here that holds the AC lines so they're not bouncing around. So I ended up taking that loose, and then I could move them up a 1/2 inch. That's all I can get is a 1/2 inch, but it was enough to get it out. So that's where I'm at. This valve cover's off, and now I'm going to cover it up and get cleaned up. Got to take care of something here real quick, and then I'll come back and start taking off the front cover. Hopefully, if all goes well, I'll get this cover off pretty quick. The hardest part of this now is going to be, I got to clean the threads out for the puller to pull the damper off, and then there's a few bolts that come up from the bottom, and I've got this thing sitting down on 4x6s, so it's easier for me to lean over it, and that's going to kind of screw me because I didn't have the forethought to take them bolts loose. I think I've got more tools out doing this so far than I did taking any of the other trucks completely apart. It's just amazing how tight everything is in here. Anyways, we're getting somewhere, you know. Let's see here. I think we'll be putting chains on this. I can't wait to get that timing cover off, just to see what's going on in there. But I can tell you already, this is not a this engine has had less than stellar maintenance, that's for sure. So it is what it is. We can't go back and rewrite history. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get cleaned up. I got to go take care of something real quick, and then we'll get that pulley off, and I'll start getting these bolts off, and I should be able to get the 4 from the bottom coming up. Get that off. Let's see where we're at. Alright guys, I'll bring you back in a minute. Down a little bit. We're only at 80, about 86 right now. That's a little helpful. Down there. So after taking a tap, clean the threads out, 3/8/16, clean the bolt holes out, and get it all together, and now it'll walk out. That's a bad ratchet. It broke it loose and pulled it out all by itself. It's pretty impressive. Now I'll take this all back apart. Okay, everything is unbolted from the front. I try and leave these bolts in place when I can, because they are different. They have different styles and all that crap, so let's see if it's ready to come off. Starting to come off. Stuck on something. I don't think it's a bolt. Might just be a gasket holding it. Yep, the gasket's holding it right here. loose. See at the bottom.
Uh-oh.
Oops. There we go. Alright. Now around this wiring over here, air conditioning line. Okay, let's inspect this. This side looks okay. Feels tight on this side. This guide looks okay. This one's holding tension. Let's go to the problem side. What do you think? Think that might have something to do with our noise? Look at that. This is all broken tensioner. Now, the unfortunate thing is, that's only part of it. Alright, so that means the rest of it is apparently in the oil pan. That is a huge bummer. Looks like these have been replaced. I don't know that I've ever seen that factory with the R and the L on them. Shoot, that one doesn't have the L on it, does it? Certainly this wasn't replaced. Who in the world would go this far and only replace one of them tensioners? That doesn't make any sense to me. But, what do you think? Could that have been our noise? Why, yes. Yes, it was. Oh, okay. You're not going to answer me, so. Isn't that a shame? What really stinks is, look, this is the only pieces there is. And there's still another section that's missing. Because this would have sat in here like this. It could have been like that right there. So, get back a little bit, you can see a little better. This looks like it was, it mighta oughta coulda been up here. So there's a big section missing. So now we have to go fishing. Oh, uh-oh. Could I be this lucky? I don't think so. Here, hold this crap. I just put my finger down there and I thought I felt it. Is it down there?
I don't know.
Oh, I think I see it.
Do you want some pliers or something?
Yeah, I'll get some needle nose pliers in a second. Let's look and see. Some light on the subject here. Man, grabbing that flashlight, I can't get enough good light here.
It ain't great.
Boy, wouldn't that be nice if I could account for all the pieces.
It was on.
Yeah, this camera just don't pick it up, but I can see it right there. Alright, let me see if I can fish it out. You see that? That's the piece we were missing. You know what they say? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. So, now I'm going to look at up here and make sure there's nothing else missing that I don't see. Because it looks like it was a, I mean, for plastic, it's a pretty clean break. Yeah, there's no chunks missing here. All that is mates up well. Oops, I don't want to drop that in the oil pan. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty happy about that. There's one small section. You see that little piece that's missing right there? See how there's a V cut in here? That part's missing. So I'm gonna have to go fishing for that. Alright, let's see what I can do here. Alright, we got it apart. This side is just fine. There must be something on that lens. Oh yeah, that's gooder. much more gooder. Alright, so this side's good. It's holding tension. Can't pull against it very much. That chain's tight. The guide's in place. Looky over here. You see the guide. The bolt's still there, but the whole guide is broken loose. So that, I'm sure, was our noise. I don't see any aluminum like where it was grinding into the case, thankfully. This is interesting. You see that R on there? That makes me think that that tensioner has been replaced, but this one doesn't have it. Certainly somebody wouldn't go to the trouble of going this far and not replace both. I suppose they could have just been two different types. I don't know. Kind of weird. Anyways, so what this means to me, oh, we were able to fish the pieces out too. Where'd you do with them pieces?
You took them last.
Over there? Alright, so there's a piece right there that's still on. It's still up there. And it had a section broke on the top and broke on the side. Hold them the way they go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Turn it so I can see here. The other way. Like it would go.
I don't know how it goes.
It goes like this. Alright, so then this was sitting like this. So we were able to find all the parts, which is good. The one piece that was missing, we fished out of the oil pan. And I don't see any aluminum anywhere, but let's take a look at the back of the oil, or the timing cover. Let's see what it looks like. This engine has not been... Man, look at that. Look how horrible that is. I think they were a little light on the oil changes, right? Let's see here. Yeah, it was starting to get into the timing cover. Look at that. So there was the noise we were hearing when it was starting up. It was that chain slopping around until the top of the cam pulled it tight. So every time it would come to rest, when you shut it off, it would rattle till it came tight. So the tensioners are probably actually okay, but I can't go this far and not replace all that. That's just not going to happen. But gosh, look at that. How many oil changes do you think that thing missed? Probably a better question is, how many oil changes do you think it actually got? Oh, here's that other piece we were talking about. So, luckily, we're able to find all the pieces and make it all together, so we don't have to worry about anything in the oil pickup. At least we don't think so. Unless I take this apart and find that there's a piece missing that I can't see right now, which is likely. If it is, then I'm going to have to drop the pan and figure out what's going on. But hopefully not, because this is very, very tight in here. And taking the oil pan out, I can only imagine how much grief that would be, because I have about probably 5 hours in this now. 5 hours to get to this point. And if this, I think if this was in a Super Duty, I probably would have had a lot less time. And the fact that there's so much rusty stuff on this one that I have to be so gentle and so cautious. And the engine actually sits in the frame much lower than it does in a Super Duty. So right here is where the power steering pump is. On a Super Duty, it's up here a little higher. It's easier to get to. I had to take the oil filter off to get to the bolts for the bottom bolt for the power steering pump. Had to take the power steering reservoir feed off the pump just to get to the bolts on that side. Had to take a couple brackets off. Super Duties are so much simpler because they sit higher up than they do in these, I think. And I could be wrong, but it just seems that way. But it was definitely easier doing a 5.4 in a F250 or 350 than it is in this Navigator. So now we know what we need. We're getting new cam phasers. We're going to replace both of them. They do make an aftermarket kit that eliminates these and just makes it a regular sprocket gear. But you'll have a constant check engine light, or you have to have a tuner to delete it. and I'm really not into all that crap. I'd rather just put it back the way it belongs. So we'll get phasers, chains, guides, tensioners. I know these are holding, but I can't go this far and not replace them. And then we'll put in the VTC solenoids here also. So that way we will know everything on here is new and correct, and hopefully it'll be good to go for somebody else. So, alright, I'm going to leave you with that. This is as far as you need to go on this. It's getting kind of long anyway, so if you guys like what we're doing, give us these thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Leave your comments down below, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, catch you on the next one.